It's snack break time. Come on. No. Snack break. Do. No. Snack break. Snack break. Snack break. Snack break. Snack. No. Fine, we'll use a professional one. And welcome to episode 13 of Snack Break, the perfect podcast pop on while preparing your cup of tea or ideal snack or beverage. Sadly, not coming to you from Mark Zuckerberg's little garage. However, although we may not have a super secret, multi-house-wide, prison-like underground bunker, little garage, we do have a new theme on the show, courtesy of Nestero UK on Pixabay. It's called Fun Evening. It's a great piece of free music, so go check that out. Coming up on this episode, though, we've got pop culture news, and we're going to be talking about all things Traitors, Series 3, and the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2. To kick things off, though, it's time for pop culture news. BBC Radio 6 Music have announced a series of daytime schedule changes, with Lauren Laverne returning to her breakfast show following a successful cancer treatment to unveil the announcements, which, by the way, is just such great news. Laverne is to step back from the breakfast show after 6 years, with Nick Grimshaw taking over from mid-February. Laverne will move back to mid-mornings, the current home of Mary Ann Hobbs, who will return to the station with a new show from late spring. It's super good news to see Lauren Laverne, as I said there, return both to Desert Island Discs, the one show as well as now Radio 6 Music on the mid-morning show, which, of course, she does have a lot of experience with. Seeing Nick Grimshaw taking over breakfast is also very, very exciting. It's really quite amazing to see, I think, how it feels like only a few years ago, and it was only a few years ago, 2021, that he exited Radio 1 after a very successful tenure there, obviously, with late nights, breakfast, drive time, and in the interim, I suppose you could say, he's written his memoirs, he's done a bit on Virgin Radio, and, of course, cover on 6 Music, as well as Sidetrack podcast with Annie McMacus. So he's been a very busy boy, and it's great to see him back on the radio, back on the breakfast full time. Additionally, it does raise a question for how listenership figures are going to play out over the next little year or so. Little year, it's like, sorry, I don't know where that came from. It's slightly Ariana Grande. Yes, my little boyfriend. No, over the next little years, we're going to call it, we'll have, presumably, unless something changes, Greg James on Radio 1 Breakfast, Scott Mills on Radio 2 Breakfast, which is starting soon, Nick Grimshaw, Radio 6 Breakfast, Jordan North doing Capital, and Chris Moyles doing Radio X, and Chris Evans over on Virgin Radio. So it's all ex-Radio 1 breakfast show hosts fronting a lot of the big entertainment-based radio stations on the breakfast front. Now, I realise I'm leaving out loads of stations there, but I'm just making a point here. There are a lot of ex-Radio 1 breakfast hosts doing breakfast again, which I guess you could say is just because where they belong. They're breakfast presenters, but it's going to wreak havoc, maybe, with listening figures. So we will see. The trailer release for Daredevil Born Again, with Charlie Cox returning as the titular character, who, in this 2-minute uber-violent attack on the senses, comes face-to-face with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, last seen in Echo. The series begins its 9-episode season on March 4th, 2024, arriving at its new home in the Mouse House. I have to say, I'm a big MCU fan. Daredevil, probably not my style so much. But I very much appreciate that the MCU has made its mark on the industry by trying a lot of different things with the superhero genre. Obviously, the first few seasons of the original Daredevil over on Netflix, I believe it's already been sort of ported to Disney now, so it's already over there. They were obviously a massive success, as have a lot of the varying styles that Marvel have tried. So I know so many people will be very excited for that. And even if it's not my style, it does look like it's going to be a treat for the people who like it. Start dates have been officially announced for BBC Radio 2's new lineup of shows. On the 27th of February, Scott Mills will officially front the breakfast show for the first time, with Trevor Nelson taking his early afternoon slot. In the evenings, meanwhile, DJ Spoonie will bring the good groove to 8 hours a week. And later that week, Sophie Ellis-Bextor will extend her kitchen discos to Friday as well as Saturday. Which is, again, more exciting radio news. Apologies, this is a very heavy radio-based pop culture news, but there's just been a lot going on in terms of exciting radio news. Literally just in the last week, between Radio 2 and Radio 6. Super excited to see all those new shows coming to fruition. I'm somebody who's not a massive cover fan. Obviously, I know things take planning and everybody's busy and they like to give things a bit of time to sort of bed in. I'm not somebody who likes cover particularly. Although all the cover presenters are doing a great job, I am excited to see things get rolling. So that is coming soon. And last but not least, and what is most possibly the most surprising radio news of the year, Dan TDM has begun a brand new video game music series. Running at 9 p.m. on Saturdays until Easter, it features video game soundtracks from the likes of The Legend of Zelda, Street Fighter, Elder Scrolls, Minecraft, and more. And that's you, up to date with Pop Culture News. So, at long last, after years of waiting and leaks and predictions and everything else under the sun, the other day, the trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 released, confirming various things, not in the least that it is called the Nintendo Switch 2. Personally, although I don't mind it as a name, I've seen it around the internet a lot, obviously, over the past few years. I would have preferred something more in the vein of the Super Nintendo Switch. Maybe they should have gone for the Nintendo Switch U. not. I don't think that was on the table somehow, no. And so, obviously, Nintendo Switch 2 was unveiled. Amazingly, and by some fluke, I was actually able to see this within 15 minutes of its release. I wouldn't usually be around the interwebs at that time of day, but I happened to be on... I can't remember which... on the day it released... timey-wimey, and was able to see it fairly quickly. So my comment is on there. My comment claiming that I need to finish my Animal Crossing Island, which is true. It is on there to live, hopefully, in internet history for a while, or at least be attached somehow to a piece of internet history, you could say. But what did I think of the trailer? Well, for the design, I can't really make my mind up. With all the rumours and fan designs going around, it was always going to be hard, in my opinion, to strike the right balance. But I can't decide whether I like the sleek sheen of the black, because I've seen, as much as I did enjoy the original design, and in the ads it looked all shiny and everything, but I think we've all seen a lot of the red and blue. It's why we all like the bonus design so much. We all got so excited when the Animal Crossing Switch released and we could get it in-game, and the Zelda Switch and the various Switch Lites and the Pokemon editions. The point is, it's nice to see something a little bit different, because as well as I do think the red and blue originally worked, it's been 7 years and I have seen quite a lot of it while playing it. Even just turning the console on and off, it is nice in that aspect to see something a little bit different. On the other hand, I've also seen a lot of fan designs going around. And look, everybody likes a nice piece of slick technology. So on that hand, I don't know if it looks slightly too fan design-ish. And that's not to put anything against any of the wonderful designs that were obviously a lot of hard work of which was poured into. It's just the fact that I don't know. Haven't quite made up my mind on it yet. I know they've got sort of the accent colours of the red and blue, and I quite like that. And the roundedness of it, is it too Steam Decky? I'm not entirely sold on the design yet, and that's something I think I'll just have to wait and see. Bigger Joy-Cons is exciting, or at least I'm pretty sure they're bigger Joy-Cons. As for the rest of the technological stuff, we don't know very much about the inner workings of the Switch. Is it going to be more powerful? If so, how much? What beefy computery parts have they put inside this era console? There are USB port stuff going on. I'm not too concerned with that. Aside from the stand and the fact, which looks like a drastic improvement, I too have had issues with the stand for the Switch in the past, just sort of falling off. The stand looks like a drastic improvement, as does the magnetism for the controllers on the Core podcast, they raised the argument that what if you've got locked into the controller? What if you're gaming too vigorously and it falls out? And whether or not that will be the case, I don't know. We'll have to see. They've clearly, I hope, a part of me hopes that Nintendo, well, I do hope that Nintendo have tested this, and a part of me believes that Nintendo have tested it, but Joy-Con drift was a very prominent issue in the Switch 1. And I feel like that sort of could have been fixed. Whether or not it could have been, again, I don't know. I'm not a technological expert, but still, just saying. We also heard about backwards compatibility, which we already already knew, but it's definitely good news. And nice that people won't have to, from a laziness standpoint, if people do buy the Nintendo Switch 2, it's nice that people won't have to drag the Switch 1, the original Nintendo Switch, back out after establishing the new console in their homes. Equally, though, it was confirmed that there will be Switch 2 exclusive games. My worst nightmare. So if you want to be keeping up with the big releases, albeit after shelling out for an original console a few years ago, you'll likely have to drop another few hundred. And let's face it, this thing is likely going to be pretty expensive. They haven't attached a price to that yet, whether that's something that will come as the tour progresses, because they've announced a tour where people can, in some stage of the next few months, where people can go around and different various host cities and hold it and play with it and use the Switch 2 for the first time, which sounds very exciting, but I don't believe it's coming to where I live. And I'm sure it would be packed anyway. So I might just wait until somebody else buys it. It's one of my friends, and no doubt I'm using it at some stage. But I'm worried about the price of this. We know that the original Nintendo Switch obviously started on the retail market at £300. And if this is an upgraded version, we can only presume it's going to be more expensive. It's certainly something I've seen a lot of discussion about online over the last few days. I do think, I agree with a lot of people in the belief that Nintendo being able to offer relatively good prices on the games console front is a fairly important feature for them. It's a bit different to, I think, in part because their audience can often be a bit different. You do have that slightly younger demographic sometimes going to Nintendo. I think for it to be a viable family purchase is quite important. You know, it's a good Christmas gift that you can sort of get for the family. You're not dropping £700 for a PlayStation 5 Pro. It's not the Xbox at £400 if you want to be able to use physical discs with it. So I really hope that it's not much more than £350, but we will have to wait and see for this. We also saw, I think this was the most exciting part of the trailer for me, was the announcement of Mario Kart 9. And I have to say, they've, as much as I have been waiting for this to arrive in Nintendo Directs, they have done a good job of, you know, padding out Mario Kart content over the last few years, because we've had DLCs, we've had the physical one, we've had Tour, or Super Circuit, sorry, it was called, the physical one where you could get Mario and get your dog to chase Mario. Fun. And they have done a good job of padding things out nicely, but it is nonetheless super exciting to see good old Mario boy and his karting friends. Good old Mario doing another Mario Kart. There are a lot of theories going around about the track and what it's inspired by, where that's come from. The exact specificities of that I am not entirely sure of. However, something interesting is the fact that there was space on the track for 24 racers. So we could really be mixing things up. Are we going to be seeing 3 times item things? That could be a reason why we've only seen singular item boxes, or at least I believe we've only seen singular item boxes in the initial trailer. So whether we're maybe going to be getting that to deal with the doubling of players, I think that's definitely an exciting thing. They need something to mix it up. They've said they are going to mix it up, so I'm glad to see that they're trying something a little bit different there. They're also trying something a little bit different with the designs. A lot of people have been joking online. There was somebody on Blue Sky who said, what on earth happened to Donkey Kong between Mario Kart 8 and 9? And it is definitely a fair point. he looks a lot more like the version of Donkey Kong that we saw in the Mario movie. As do the rest of the characters, in all fairness. There's definitely a fairly significant design change. They almost look less cartoonish, which, in all fairness, although I do think I prefer the original design, I'm happy for them to try something a bit different with it. And I'm glad that they're going in a more stylistically impressive direction than, look, it's Mario. He looks like he's from The Last of Us. So that's definitely an upside, in my opinion. So, Switch 2, April 2nd is the date where we are getting more information. Mario Kart 9 does seem to be happening. Well, we know it's happening, basically. We just don't know if it's called Mario Kart 9. We could only presume. It seems like a great launch title, but I think my interest in it is really going to depend on what else they give us. I do love my Mario Kart, but I still feel like I'm doing fairly well for the meantime. Certainly, if they're going to have to really deliver on the Mario Kart front to make me feel like this is something that I urgently need to be playing, instead of just going back to 8 Deluxe and playing through the DLC a bit more, because that's still relatively new, and or at least it is in my mind. I know some people have likely played through it thousands upon thousands of times, so it doesn't feel so new. But I think they're really going to have to deliver on the Mario Kart front. For me, it's really going to come down to Animal Crossing and when that's dropping, and the price, and waiting for the price to drop, and when Animal Crossing releases is going to, it's really going to mold my perspective on the Switch 2. So we will just have to wait and see. Unless you've been living under a TV rock for the last few weeks, you're probably well aware that Traitors Season 3 has been going on. And boy, oh boy, has it been going on. Between Traitors goings-ons with Linda and Mina to, well, just about everything else and those mad challenges and all of it, it has really been an intense season. It's actually been, for me, the first season of Traitors that I've watched, and I'm just going to tell you, this is slightly shameful, but I've taken to watching the Australian one as well, because I just need, Traitors content. Give it to me, honestly. So, with this episode scheduled to release this Monday, the 20th of January 2024, I thought we'd play a little game. I will make 3 predictions, and then next episode, see how they hold up. Because next week is the last week of Traitors Season 3. Prediction numero uno. People will turn on Mina in Wednesday's episode. Mina has been playing a great game as a traitor recently, but I can't help but think that something's got to give. We've seen some people have slight suspicions already, and people raise the fact that she is slightly quiet in the round table. So whether that will play out, I personally think it will. We've seen a few people discussing it, and the fact that Mina, solely just because she hasn't been onto the firing line much, I think people are uber suspicious at this point, and may clock onto the fact that she is in fact a traitor. Whether they'll vote her out or not, I can't tell, but I'm hoping she makes it to the end. But I don't know. I think people are definitely going to turn on her, or at least attempt to, in Wednesday's episode. I also think people will turn on Alexander. For a usually calm and collected person, the diplomat's response to the evicting another faithful at the round table yesterday, which was a lot of swearing, may really be a surprise to some. And you could see how they could maybe think, wrongfully, they could maybe think that that is a traitor attempting to act as a faithful. Although I hope not. I hope he continues. And last but not least, I think that Charlotte will try something. We know that Mina, who's been a traitor the whole way through, is planning to split the money with Charlotte should she win it, and just carry on to the end and split the cash. But Charlotte, from what she said, seems to have other plans. Whether she will maybe try and evict Mina, I really hope not, but I don't know. Just from they could be editing it in a funny way, but I just don't know. I hope she doesn't, but we'll see. That's my prediction, that she might significantly consider trying to evict Mina. But we will have to just wait and see. Traitors season 3, the final week, is on the BBC. I believe it's BBC One next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Alas, that is it for this episode of Snack Break, though. I hope you like the brand new theme. Thank you very, very much for listening. For now, though, I've been Ben to Go Blue. This has been a Handcapper production. Thanks for listening. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye.